The winter storms that devastated Texas last month led to a major water crisis. But for weeks afterward, there weren't enough plumbers to help customers with the damage. All of this underscores the need for more of these skilled workers. And yet, for women and workers of color, there can be even greater obstacles. Paul Salmon has the story for our series, Work Shift, and a warning. This story includes sensitive subject matter.
I was in a porta-john one time. They picked me up with the crane.
They were Adrienne Bennett's fellow workers during her 5-year union plumbing apprenticeship in the early 1980s.
And you're bouncing around in there, and you got that sewage. It's splashing all over you. You're afraid. You don't know what's going to happen.
The point was rather obvious.
Like the women before me, they wanted me to leave.
Those women before her, all white, had quit. But Bennett survived, got high-level training while not taking on college debt, was actually getting paid. In 1987, she became the first and still only black female master plumber in North America. Now running her own firm in Detroit, Bennett says it isn't just the stigma of dirty work or the emphasis on college that keeps people like her from getting a hands-on education for high-paying jobs in the understaffed trades.
I mean, this is a piece of artwork right here.
Unsurprisingly, perhaps, it's discrimination.
Because you're a woman? Because you're black?
I never, even to this day, I still can't answer that question. In those days, there was no place for me to go and complain. There was nobody I could go talk to.
Women obviously make up half or more of the population. African Americans another 14%. But according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, only 8% of plumbers are black. As for women, take Bennett's own union local.
It's over 1,500 members and 13 women.
But just listen to what she endured from her fellow apprentices.
Dead rats in my lunchbox. And they were used to groping me.
One of them savagely.
He grabs me by my buttocks and he lifts me up off the floor. And by him doing that, he ripped my skin. It hurt. And I looked and there was blood. By this time, I was so tired of them putting their hands on me. I grabbed a pipe wrench out of my tool belt. And before I realized it, I came down on the top of his hard hat. And I said, it stops today. You passed the word. The next that puts their hands on me will die, and I will go to prison happily.
The hazing stopped. But the prejudice wasn't just against women. Even in heavily African-American Detroit.
When I got into the trade, there were no black men. They had left the union because they themselves were being called the N-word, being called a boy. You know, they were being treated like they were in the Deep South.
Tanya Hicks is from the Deep South.
Meridian, Mississippi.
And she's another rarity in the trades.
Only 3% of all electricians in the United States are women, and I'm one of the 3%.
And blacks comprise less than 7% of the electrical trade. No wonder Hicks became Mississippi's first black female journeyman back in 1999. She now runs her own firm in Atlanta. How tough was it for her?
I had a foreman tell me that all black women do is get fat, have a bunch of kids, and collect welfare.
Growing up in Meridian, Mississippi, were you expecting to be treated as badly as you were treated?
Yes.
Why?
I grew up in an environment where discrimination and racism was a daily thing. So I didn't know anything different. My grandfather was stabbed 62 times and they slit his throat.
Why? What did he do?
He was black. So when you learn that people hate and what hate does and what hate looks like and feels like, you don't know anything differently. So no, I expected it. But I was brave enough to go and hungry enough to stay.
And tough enough to endure. But haven't things changed?
How come more black people, more women don't try to become electricians?
It's hard to get a point of entry. Historically, women and minorities have been systematically kept out of these higher paying skilled jobs. The unions have a history of it, including my own union. And when you do get in, there's no place for advancement.
In addition, says Hicks,
It's based on who you know. And that's how most people hire. They hire who they like and who they're comfortable with. So if you don't have Black people in management, you don't have women in management, it won't change.
Bring it up, you gotta bring it all the way over.
as Adrienne Bennett learned recently when she was interviewing African-American plumber candidates.
One guy said that he couldn't get into the union because he didn't have any connections. He should have been able to go to that union hall, knock on the door and say, I want an application to get in. Who do you know? I don't know nobody. They shut the door.
But Bennett does think things are changing.
The UA, which is United Association, which is for the piping trades, a national level, the president at the conference this year, he had made a mandate that harassing, hazing is going to stop. The workplace is not a place for that. So now it is better, but it's a mindset that is generational. They still feel that they can say and do what they want.
For the PBS NewsHour, Paul Salmon.